Good evening. Hi, Amandeep. Hi, Bhavin. Hi, Diana. Hi, Adriana. Hello, Javad. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Karthik. Hello, Imad. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Vinay. Hi, Sid. How are you guys doing today?
Pretty good. Thanks.
Very
Thanks.
nice, very nice.
Doing
And I'm
good.
glad you guys back. If you're here, I'm sure you're very serious about your career transition. And we are also equally excited with the career transition for you guys. There are some new guys here. Bhavin, are you new for the second session? Did you attend the first one?
Yes, I attended that.
You did? Okay. All right. No issues. But I recommend you. I think I remember speaking to most of you all. If you haven't discussed to me yet, I would recommend you to speak to me and get an understanding of how to transition to this career because it's very important that you need to speak to me so that I can tell you what is the feasibility plan and what kind of knowledge area you need and all those kind of good stuff. Okay. Guys, you want to hear a good news? Who wants to hear a good news?
Me?
Jennifer, what about others? Vinay, Gurpreet, Amandeep, Bhavin, Diana,
Sure,
Of
sure.
course,
Dina,
of course, yes.
Jennifer.
For sure. For
Who's
sure.
excited for good news? You know what? We are here for good news, right? Aren't we? We're here for good news. With
Always.
that, I'm going to open the session with a very exciting news, and I'm going to share my
Let
screen
me
here.
see. Everybody see.
And I want to tell you today, one of my student, Simran, secured her job with RBC Bank. Can anybody read this for me? Can anybody read this for me? Anybody volunteer this for me?
Hello,
Who wants to
everyone.
volunteer?
Yeah, Gurpreet this side. Good evening, everyone.
Hi,
So I will
Gurpreet. How
read
are
it
you?
aloud for everyone. Yeah,
Okay.
we have these amazing news coming our way for other candidates as well. So we will start from this one. Okay, so it says, I got this manager from RBC from manager. Everything sorted. Thank you so much, Simran. Hope you're doing well. Reaching out to officially welcome you to the HR Digital Solutions team. Woohoo! We are so excited and really looking forward to the journey ahead of us. If you have any questions before 20th Feb, please don't hesitate to reach out to me.
So her background, thank you, Gurpreet. Her background verification is cleared. Simran is my student, and she's from totally non-tech background, and we trained her from zero. This is her beautiful family. Her husband is studying cybersecurity with us. We're helping career job. The part is both of them when they came to me, the husband and wife, they had a job somewhere in October, back to back. Both of them got laid off, and it was very frustrating to see one of our students' families going through it. But good that they had some money to manage. By October, somewhere around, they got laid off. Her husband has not secured a job. He's still working with us on cybersecurity side, but she got job on December on Christmas Day, and I was in my vacation and I still had my laptop just for her to clear the background verification. Thank God we got it cleared. Everything went well. She secured her first IT job with one of our top financial sector banks over here. Her life is starting at 95, but I can tell you, 5 years from now, I can tell you she'll be crossing 150, 170 US dollars per year. So she started from nothing, guys. Okay, I wanted to encourage you guys. So I wanted to share this good news. If you are here, you've never been in IT, you're in the right place, guys. What you need is a good partner and a good trainer and a plan who can guide you face to face to get into the job. So that's what we do over here. So welcome to the second session, and I'll pass it to Gurpreet. We do have one more session complimentary coming up on Friday, and after that, you're looking at this, everything is okay for you, quickly sign up. We are offering 3 installments, and you can kickstart all those things. Okay. With that, I will pass it on to Gurpreet. Okay. Gurpreet, you're on. I'm going to make you the host now. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Alrighty. So here you go. Have a great session, guys. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Sudesh. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Please let me know once it's visible.
Yes, we can see it.
Perfect. Good morning, everyone. Good evening for all of you. Apologies. So, in our last session, we have covered about the introduction to ServiceNow, the tool exactly where we are planning to move and use because of its larger scope in the coming time. Now, since we are planning to do it for the business analyst role, so today's agenda would revolve around first to understand what is business analysis and why it is important, right? Because if we are stepping into something and we are planning to do it for the coming years, we need to understand what it is all about and what significance it carries over the time, right? And who is exactly a business analyst. So, what do you do as becoming a BA? And what will be your key responsibilities? And what are the skills that you as a BA need to have? And what is your mindset, if you are becoming a BA? Because as we will be deep diving into each slide, we will be getting to know more about this role. You will understand that what kind of mindset a BA needs to have. Then we already went through a day in the life of BA, but that was very high level. Today we will dig deeper into it, and then we will understand that, okay, if you are completing this training as a BA, what are the career paths which are available for you, other career paths within ServiceNow after completing this training. Then we will understand about the business analyst role specifically in ServiceNow projects, because that's the main tool we are going to use. And then what are the tips and tricks for success, right? At the end of the session, we are going to have our Q&A. We will discuss all the doubts and queries. So let's begin with our session. Okay. Okay, so what is business analysis? So it is the practice where you identify the problem of the business or the opportunities they have to fix those problems, right? So it is about understanding the current process and then define the requirements for the solutions. Because if some business is facing a problem, right, and you understand the current process, you figure out what are their pain points, and then you note down all the requirements, all the things that a business needs, and then you provide them solutions using ServiceNow. So you ensure after that that, okay, the solution that we're delivering, it is meeting the success criteria. So what defines success for you if you are facing issue in moving to or after or completing this training, right? For you, the success would be that now you know everything about ServiceNow that needs to be known, right? You know about the business analysis role, analyst role. So that is the business value, the value that this course brings to you. Similarly, whatever solution you're providing to the client, it will ensure that solution is delivering a measurable business value. So in simple terms, if I have to summarize about the business analysis, it is about understanding what problem to solve and why. So before you jump to how to build it, because how to build is more for the technical people, the developers who have to code and build things. But for you as a business analyst, you need to understand what problem to solve and why we are solving it, right? So moving ahead with this one. Now, why this is important, right? We understood what business analysis is, where we are identifying the current process, the current business problem, and then we are providing them the solutions. But why do we need to do it and why it is so important? Because if there is no business analysis, the solutions will solve the wrong problem, the systems will get built, but users won't adopt to them, right? And automation will increase the complexity instead of reducing it. So a real life analogy of it would be, think of it that you went to a doctor and a doctor doesn't prescribe medicine without diagnosis. That's the typical scenario, right? They first go through your all the vitals and then they suggest you or prescribe you medicine. So just like a doctor can't suggest anything to you without doing the proper diagnosis of your body, similarly a business analyst doesn't design the solution without doing the proper analysis, right? So that's why when the business analysis in the picture, there is going to be a clear alignment between the business and the technology. Technology we are talking about is ServiceNow, right? And the business is the client that we are doing the work for. So it will reduce the rework and the cost, and there will be a higher user satisfaction. Now, if I go to a doctor and he doesn't even diagnose my vitals properly, he just assumed that, okay, Gurpreet is having this much fever, so let's give her the medicine. But he's not aware to which severity my fever is, to which extent I am sick. So he just give me medicine like that. Now, obviously, it will make me, it can affect my health more, right? It will waste my more time. I can't go back to my work as early as possible. And I will again have to revisit him, repay for the other medicine, right? So that's why if business analysis is not into the picture, he's solving the problem still, but he's solving the wrong problem. I might have 102 fever. He's giving me medicine for the 100, right? So that it won't be that effective. And my body will not be adapting to it. So that's why business analysis, when it comes into the picture, it will give me a better treatment, right? If he will do the proper diagnosis, and obviously it will reduce the revisiting and paying for the medicine again, and better satisfaction at the end of the day. So that is why business analysis is very important. Even in our daily life we do business analysis and very little task. For example, if I have to go somewhere, I know that I need half an hour from my getting shower to getting ready to getting into my car, and then I know the distance to the location is going to be another half an hour. So I do my proper analysis that, okay, in 10 minutes, I'm going to get showered, do brush. In another 10 minutes, I'm going to get ready. In another 10 minutes, I'm going to collect all my things. And half an hour I will be spending on the traveling. So basically, even if you're brushing, or you're traveling to some place, you're all the time you're doing the analysis unintentionally, unknowingly. So business analysis is very important to keep things aligned. Now that we know what is business analysis and why it is important, we need to understand now what is business analysis in the IT world, the digital transformation world, right? So, what it does is that it helps to translate the business language to the technical language. Now, you are communicating with getting in touch with the client, you're understanding their business in the business language, in the layman terms. They are not aware about the typical technical jargons which are being used in the IT world or in ServiceNow or any other tool, right? So you talk to them, you understand the business, and then you convert it to the technical language because you know the tool now, and you deliver it to the people who are doing the development. So what you're basically doing is you're bridging the gap between the business users and the developers and the platform teams, which are like ServiceNow. So, in the digital platforms like ServiceNow, as a business analyst, you are ensuring that the automation is matching the real business workflows, right? And tools are configured for people, because at the end of the day, this tool is being used by the people, and it's not just the system, So that's why it is very important to understand that what role or what significance a business analyst carry into the world of the ServiceNow or any other IT or digital transformation tool. Any questions so far before we move ahead?
No.
Okay, great. Thank you. Right. So now that we understood, okay, what is business analysis in the IT world? Now, who exactly is a business analyst, right? So a business analyst is a professional who works closely with the business stakeholders. So you are the front face of the project. You are actually interacting with client. You're getting so much exposure, so much learning opportunities, right? You're networking with people, and then you understand their needs, their pain points, their goals. For them, you are the savior. You are the one who is building the foundation of the project. And trust me, over the time, once you start doing business analysis, you're going to love this role, because it not only provides you with a lot of opportunities to connect with different people, it also makes you travel to places, because it's more like of a consultant role as well, we can say, right? So you might get the opportunity from your organization that, okay, you have to go to this place, you have to go to client's location and do this thing. So this job is quite interesting over the time if you get to know about it. And then once you've understood their need, the pain points, and the goals they want to achieve, you will convert those requirements into clear, actionable requirements. Now, those requirements could be into different ways, which we will talk about in our upcoming sessions, right? And whatever you have noted down now, you need to make sure it supports the solution design. You can sit with your technical architect into the project or the technical head, right? You will do the analysis with that person that, okay, whatever we are trying to offer to the client, does it fit into the ServiceNow solution? So you basically do the solution mapping, and then QA test it, and then you train the end users who will adopt to it over the time, whatever you have built for them. So business analyst is not a coder, you are not a tester, you're not a project manager, but you have so much significance that you're collaborating with everybody in the project, because you are setting the foundation of the project. They all need to collaborate with you, and vice versa. So this is a how who is a business analyst. Now, if you notice now in this slide, there are some keywords which have been highlighted. So in simple words, you act as a bridge between the client and stakeholders and your technical team, right? You are an information gatherer. Now, how you're acting as a bridge, because you are extracting the information from the client, that what are their problems, and what all solutions they need. So you're responsible for gathering and documenting the business needs or requirements. And then once you've done that, you're a solution finder. You're looking for best solutions in ServiceNow or the respective tool to identify the business problems. And then you are working as a translator. Once you have done that, now you are going to translate all of this gathered information into a proper document, right? It could be a business requirement document or function requirement document. We will be talking about it in our further upcoming sessions. So then you become a translator, and through your this BRD, FRD, or user stories, you successfully give it to the technical team so that they can execute it or build it. I hope everybody has a clarity on what a business analyst is and what role they serve. We are good so far?
Yes, proceed.
Yes.
Great. Thank you. Okay, so now business analyst is about people and problems, not just code, right? Technical skills can be taught to anyone, but people skills is something that you get to learn over the time with experience, right? So that's why this role has so much of importance. Now, this is something which is beyond coding. It is about people and problems, right? So you need to have a problem solving mindset first, because success in this career, in this role, comes from asking, why is this process broken? Rather than how do I code this? So, just like I said, as a business analyst, your focus should be on what and why rather than the how. Next, communication over syntax. So you're explaining the business needs to both the clients and the technical people, the developers, right? So it matters more than knowing the programming languages. It doesn't matter if you know C++, you know JavaScript, you know SQL or Python. What matters is that are you able to communicate the business problems or write it down properly, translate it to properly to the technical people. That's what matters. So communication over the syntax, and then critical thinking. So these are the areas which needs to be there. So for example, you're solving some tricky case study in a college, right? We all have went through that. Similarly, the business analyst is analyzing the situation. He's challenging the assumptions of the client, or the team, and then you design better solutions for them. So these three, I would say, are very important for you: having a problem solving mindset, communication, and then critical thinking. Now, what are the key responsibilities as a business analyst? So typically, a BA would conduct the workshops and interviews, right? Because when you get into a workshop with a client, which is basically a meeting with them. You sit there and then you talk to them to understand the current process, their pain areas. You are basically interviewing them. You are asking questions, that okay, how this thing works, why it works, why we're facing this problem, what is exactly that is getting done here. So you do all that kind of stuff as a first part of the process. Then you document all those things into the as business requirements. Then you convert them into user stories. Now user story is another concept altogether, right? For example, you have noted down raw. Yesterday we were talking, I noted down that okay, there are 20 different people, and I note down each of the people that okay, this person is coming from this background and this is their goal in from this training. This is what they want to achieve, this is where they want to go. So when I was noting down, or when I'm taking the notes, to make sure that I'm tailoring the course as per the needs of everybody, making sure that okay, everybody is getting the best out of this. That is me noting down the business requirements, right? Because for me, you are my client. So when I'm noting it down in the raw format, that is the business requirement. But now suppose I have to have a proper format for it. Okay. um, for example, I have this particular format that okay, as a project manager, I want this training course to have these all features so that I can move into a business analyst role. Or maybe, I want to learn ServiceNow. So the outcome, the functionality that you want to achieve, right? And as which role, this all, I have a particular format. And now I'm converting all those row requirements into into user stories. So I create one user story for each of you. I have 20 people. There are going to be 20 user stories where which role you are serving, what is the goal that you want to achieve out of this course, right? I noted down all in a particular format so that tomorrow when I revisit it again, I know that okay, these are the 20 people. There is a one proper format and every person has this agenda. So when you convert any raw requirement into a proper format, that is what a user story is. Then I also design a process flow. So I understood the business. There were problems they were facing, right? I design a proper process flow for them. Even if we have to make a tea, right? I would say I will put two boxes. I will say this is the start, this is the end. In between, you have to boil the water, you have to put in the tea leaves and the sugar. Then you add milk to it, right? So this is how a typical process flows go like goes like. And now process flows can be designed into using different tools. It could be Lucidchart, it could be Visio, it could be Draw.io. So they are very simple to use. But yeah, this is one of the must have skill of a BA, that you should be able to visualize the process for the client and for the technical team as well, right? And user stories can be either written in agile, which is like the ServiceNow platform. You get within it, you get a proper UI where you can write down the user stories. Or you get Azure DevOps, if any one of you have heard, that's like another tool to write down user stories or have a do the project management. Then third could be to do it in Excel. That is not the best solution or the most optimal method, but yes, Excel could be one if you don't have any other platforms. So you can write down your user stories over there. Then once you have documented all these three, then you will validate the solution with the stakeholder that okay, this is what we want to achieve, and how we can do it, or this is how we are going to do it. Once you have done that, then somebody will be doing the testing from your team, who is known as a QA, the quality analyst, and then you will support them during the UAT. So UAT is user acceptance testing. The product which you're building for the client, they're going to test it. And when they do that, we call it UAT phase, right? So you support them during the testing. And once they prove it, then your product is ready to go live. Go live means that, okay, now we have configured whatever you wanted and we are putting it into your environment or into your instance, which you're going to use daily. So that's go live readiness. I would say these are the key responsibilities of a BA: to conduct workshops, to document the requirements, convert them into user stories, and design process flows. Basically, whatever is in words, you put it into visual, right? Then you validate the solutions, then you support during UAT, and your product is ready to go live. So this is what you do in a complete life cycle of a project. Now, in order to do these things, sorry, does anybody have a question?
Yes,
Yeah.
Miss Gurpreet, this is Habib here. How you doing?
Hi, Habib. Yeah.
I really, really appreciate that. Makes a lot of sense, especially on this this information you just gave about the key responsibility of BA. You see how
Yes.
you have you pick the time whenever you're ready to answer. But my question is, either you can answer now or maybe end of the session. My question is, you see how you explain everything in detail about, like, as a BA, he does business requirement, then he user stories, then he process flows. My question is, do you have any an example that you can show us in the like either in the dummy format or in the real format, like how a BA handles all these situation when it comes to the real
Definitely.
world? Or you
Yeah,
can answer
that
me now or later, like, just to see something. You know what I mean?
Yes, right. Habib, it totally makes sense. So, I was planning that, we are going to have one case study where I will show you that, okay, this is the one client I had. This was their problem, right? And this
Thank
is
you.
how I documented it. And then I will show you that, okay, what was the process flow I designed for them and the user story I created. So, yes, definitely, whatever we will be teaching, it is going to have a practical visual to it. So, I will be doing one case study with you in the upcoming sessions where it all of it will make sense. Yeah.
Thanks enough. Thanks a lot.
Gurpreet, I have a question. May I go ahead?
Yes, Soumya. Yeah.
So the thing is, in the user stories, you told, Excel, that's like the basic platform, but we use like Agile, Azure, and BI, right? Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
my bad. So the
Yeah.
thing is, will we be able to learn about it in the future in the upcoming classes?
You're talking about the tools in which we can write user stories?
Yeah.
Okay, I would say for the tool, it depends, it varies from customer to customer because the projects I have been doing, they mostly use Azure DevOps or the Agile in ServiceNow, right? So I
Mhm.
had to learn those tools. It can be different for you. So there could be like 100 different tools to write user stories in, and we can't focus on all of that. I think that's altogether a different course or skill which we need to learn. So whatever you face at that time, you might need to dig deeper into it. But if what you need to do into it as a business analyst, we will definitely be doing it properly, which is writing a user story. So yeah, those tools, Soumya, you will have to learn at that time. But if you want, we will definitely be covering the agile, and I can also give you one example of Azure DevOps. But for the rest of the tools, I think we can't cover everything into this course. So that will vary for your project, right?
Okay. So is it that, if we handle any further projects in the future, at that point of time, we have to figure out like which user story is required to fulfill the process, and that user story we have to make sure we learn it, right?
Yes, definitely, because as we will be moving ahead with this course, you will have all the clarity, and I can assure you, you will be very quick to figure out that, okay, what are the all user stories that we are going to need.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Sure. Thank you.
thank you. Okay, now that we know, okay, these are the key responsibilities of a BA, but how you are going to fulfill it, right? So you need to have certain skills. Now, I want to make sure that you don't feel overwhelmed that, okay, oh my God, these are all the things that a BA has to do. So we will first begin from a point to understand the skills that you're already having versus the skills you will learn here. So, it is just that it will build confidence in your journey, right? Because, for example, you can take an example that even when we were back in our learning days from college projects, there is a lot of teamwork, curiosity we show, presentation skills, problem solving. So these are all the foundation for becoming a BPC. And we all have done it like pretty much back in our college times, right? So now the skills that you will learn here is that how to document things, how to do the process mapping, Process mapping, as in whatever you're trying to deliver, the solution you're trying to give to the client, it has to be in sync with the service now, the tools you're using, right? So that is basically process mapping. Then stakeholder management, how to manage your client, your team, and then service now knowledge. So these are the practical tools for consulting success or analyst success. So you are the bridge between them. So now you're not starting from the scratch. Why? Because the skills that you're already having, you're having it from like so many years back, the teamwork, the curiosity, the presentation skills, the problem solving, right? And now the skills you are going to learn here is how to document, how to understand or decide what all user stories are we going to need for this particular client, how to do the process mapping with ServiceNow, how to manage the client. So you don't start from the scratch. You're basically going to build on what you already know. And then we will shape it into a professional consulting skill or the analyst skills, right? So now, the skills of a successful business analyst, you need to have analytical skills. That means you're able to solve the problem. You're able to go to the root of the problem, right? You can do the root cause analysis. Now, we can take an example that there is a company who is facing currently getting all of the issues reported either via email or their Teams chat, right? Or WhatsApp. This is these are the methods how they do it, and it's very problematic because suppose there are 500 employees in a company, they're getting 500 emails now, or it could be more than one email from one person. They could be facing issue regarding their laptop or the password reset, or wi-fi. Now this is very cumbersome, right? So you need to get to the root cause of the problem, that let me understand your current process. I can see why the delays are happening, in solving the issues quickly, because there is no proper tracking, there is no proper automated flow. Everything is manual and scattered. So that's where your analytical skills comes into the picture, where you're focused on the problem solving. You're actually checking that, okay, how this is their current process looks like. These are the bottlenecks. This is how we need to go to the root of the problem. So that is your first. And then you definitely need to have good communication skills. You need to ask the right questions. We can't just go and talk to client about whatever that comes to our mind. We always need to polish ourselves. We need to be prepared. We need to ask the right questions. Now suppose if I go there and I tell them, okay, so can you let me know which all people are currently reporting the issues? So that's like a silly question, because who all will be reporting issues in the company? Their employees themselves, right? What I need to rather focus on is that from which domain or which particular area you're receiving the most issues. It could be HR department, it could be IT department. So you need to ask the right questions, and then you need to do a good stakeholder management. Now stakeholder management could involve convincing them or making them understand that why we need to stick to the out of the box solution. That means what is predefined in ServiceNow. It is very easy to adapt to it, and not go with the customization, because whenever you go with the customization, there is a certain technical debt to it. There are certain restrictions. Customization we can always do, but it shouldn't have to be to a great extent, because it will only create problems in the future, right? So how you convince a client that, okay, let's stick to the out of the box process, it's going to keep your process smoother. That is all about stakeholder management. Or maybe sometimes they're insisting that I need this work within this timeline, and then you make them understand, look at the scope of the project. This is too big to get covered into 4 weeks. We are going to need 6 weeks for it. So how you tackle those kind of situations, that is all about stakeholder management. So that is, yes.
You just use the term, Miss Gurpreet Kaur. You just use the term out of box. Can you just put a little explanation? What exactly you mean out of box in ServiceNow? Thank you.
Thanks, Habib. That's a good question. So out of the box in ServiceNow means that whatever comes predefined with the ServiceNow tool. So you are not building it from the scratch. For example, in ServiceNow, we have ITSM application. Under it, we have incident management module. Now in incident management, ServiceNow has already defined the form there are certain fields into it, right, which needs to be filled. For example, if I'm as an end user, I'm raising an issue, I need to define the priority for it, right? Whether it's like high priority or low priority or medium priority, and what will be the short description, what will be the particular, for example, asset which is getting affected by it. So now over here, I'm not actually, building anything from the scratch. Everything has been already covered by the service now, considering the best case scenario that, okay, if we have to work on incident, any issue, this is how everything should be covered. So whatever is coming as a part of that process, the predefined things in the service now, that's what we refer to as out of the box. Now I know in incident there could be 4 different states. First is when I submit it, it will be in the new state. Once somebody has been assigned on that incident, they are working on it, that is work in progress. Once it is getting resolved, it will move to the resolved state, and then eventually after 20 days, 17 days, suppose there is that issue is not reoccurring for me, so it will automatically get closed. Now these 4 states are out of the box defined by ServiceNow, because they know these 4 are like must haves. So whenever ServiceNow predefines everything, considering all the best case scenarios, covering all the aspects, that is what we refer to as out of the box. Now anything which we try to do apart from that, that refers to as customization. I hope I'm able to answer your question, Habib.
I am trying to understand, yes, but thank you.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
we can say, yeah. So let me give you a real life example apart from the service now. Suppose this is one training and we have our curriculum already designed, right? So in the curriculum, in order to become a business analyst, we have certain topics listed. Like there are 15 different topics which we know are must have for everybody, right? So we have covered it, that okay, irrespective of the factor, whether you're coming from the non-tech background or the tech background, or you're an existing business analyst, right? You definitely need to cover these particular areas or these particular topics. Now this is out of the box for lead techno company, that we have predefined the must have topics for you to cover in a business service now business analyst training. But then we get introduced to you in our first session, we get to know that okay, this person has this specific goal to achieve, or this person has this specific area where they want to excel, or the how where the background they're coming from. Now we will customize our training according to your need. Now that is not out of the box, that is customization, right? Where we are tailoring it to as per your requirements. So similarly in ServiceNow, when you have ServiceNow has predefined pretty much every process, whether it's HR, IT, everything. So whatever they have predefined already, that's out of the box. Anything which we are doing according to the customer's needs, which doesn't fit into that out of the box or predefined picture, that is what we call as customization. I hope now it was a little much better to understand now with this example.
Thank you. Just a little bit. Yes, thank you. You can go on.
Okay, I will make sure that I include some better example in our next session to clarify this. I have noted it down, so I will show something out.
Just wanna give a little note. I don't want to stop you. When you get a chance, Ms. Kaur, can you please like email or WhatsApp like one of those images or the link that I can actually take a look at it to try to understand more how the out of box issues get discussed or being programmed in ServiceNow.
Sure.
When you get a chance. Thank you.
I will do that. Thank you.
Just for better understanding. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the second skill that we need to have, and the third would be the documentation skills, right? So now in documentation skills, basically you have understood client's business using your analytical skills and communication skills. Now you need to document it down, right? Now you need to note it down in the form of user stories. User story is we will have a proper slide about it, that okay, what is a user story, what do we actually write in it, what is the format we follow, right? So user stories is basically when, as I said earlier, you are basically converting the raw requirement into a proper format, right? So that is what a user story is. or you can do BRDs or FRDs, which is business requirement document and functional requirement document. So in the business requirement document, there is one scope you get from client that, okay, ITSM is the application. Under it, we want incident management and problem management, right? Now, those are the business requirements. When you start writing or understanding the business and writing it into the user stories, that is what the functional requirement document is about. Because now you are converting those business requirements into functional areas, which is like that, okay, if I need incident management, I'm going to need one form for end user to fill in. These are going to be the fields in it, and these are going to be the values in the field. This is going to be the workflow behind it, like whether it needs an approval or within how many days it needs to be resolved. These are going to be the notifications. Now, where all I will be covering all these little details, which are very important for that process to be documented. Those are all the functional areas, right? So when I break down the business requirement into 10 different things, that is basically the function. That is what makes your functional requirement document. Or functional requirement document is indirectly your user stories, right? You have written 10 user stories in order to fulfill one business requirement document. So then that is what it refers to as a functional requirement document. And then you have acceptance criteria in a user story itself. User story has three different parts. First is the title, then you have description for the client, the layman, and then you have acceptance criteria for the developers, where you go little bit more technical. You tell them the details. Yes, Michael. Sorry, Michelle.
It's
Yeah,
Michelle.
yeah.
Ms. Gaur, I just have a quick question. So BRD is just more of an the high level view of an requirement, and then FRD is basically nitty-gritty details of that particular requirement. Did I understand that correct?
That's absolutely correct. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Ms.
So
Kaur,
once you, yes.
I didn't mean to stop you. This
Yeah.
script that you're going through right now, like all those
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4 points, to me, I found very interesting. Can you please do us a favor? If you
Yes.
can give us one of those like images of
Right, right.
how
I was
how
about to get there. Yes.
oh yeah,
So,
how a BA solves problem, like
Mhm.
how does he write it down, how he
Mhm.
takes and how he delivers. Same thing with the cause analysis, like in a professional format.
Right.
Just back to doctor, when the patient comes to doctor, what doctor
Mhm.
does, he has paper and pen, and he writes everything on his notepad.
That's
He
correct.
writes everything, then he gives to a he gives a different diagnosis to a sugar, to a blood pressure, to a person who
That's
has a
right.
fever. So he writes everything in detail to different people. So the slide that we're talking about right now on analytical skills, communication skills, all those abbreviated notes, if we can have that in a like a little bit more detail with images, is going to help us a lot. I really like it right now.
Perfect. Yeah, Habib.
Please.
So I will make sure in our next session, we start firstly with the case study, which is going to cover all of these areas specifically. I will make sure that I show you live that, okay, I will show you that, okay, I will act as a client. I would say, this is my situation. This is where my business is facing problem.
Thank you.
And I will also act as a business analyst to show you that, okay, how now I'm going to get to the root cause analysis, how I'm going to ask you the right questions and note it down into user stories. So yeah, we will firstly start with the case study itself in our next session. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Next we have is collaboration skills. Now, while you're doing this all, right, you need to collaborate with your client. Not only the client, but now once you're done with it, you need to move it to the developers, right? The testers are going to look at your user stories, because this for everybody now. Once the project has like different phases. First one is when the client is coming into the picture. Second is when you are communicating with them. You are setting the foundation of the project basically. Now, based on that foundation, the developers are going to build and the testers are going to test, right? Now, everything depends on you. If you miss out one thing, the project can crash. If you skip something, there could be certain consequences to it. So you serve a very significant role in the project life cycle. Doesn't matter it is ServiceNow or any other tool, you as a BA carry a lot of importance because you make or break the situation. Now, developers will look at your user stories, they will build whatever you have written there. The testers are going to look at your stories, they're going to test every feature you have listed there. You miss something, they're going to miss too, right? There are very few cases where you get good developers into the picture or good testers. They can point out that Gurpreet, we haven't covered this particular area. Can we check with client? So that's very rare, you know. What if you get some developers into the picture who are hardly having 1 or 2 years of experience? They themselves are not well equipped with the knowledge or experience where they can let you know that, okay, you have missed out this thing. So you as a BA, you need to make sure you're covering every possible aspect of a requirement. So you work with developers, the testers, and the architects. Architects are basically people who are the technical leads who lead the developers, right? So you need to have good collaboration skills. You need to be synced with everyone because developer, once you've written the user story, no matter sometimes how good of a user story you write, it should be it is like perfect. It is self-explanatory. It has all the details. Still, there could be situations where the developer or the tester can keep coming back to you like 10 times a day. They can say that, Gurpreet, I need clarity on this, what you have written. I need to understand how this is happening, right? So there are like two ways to work on this one. Now it is impossible for you to connect with one person 10 times and then 10 times with another person, right? So what you do, you keep a common call with your all of the team, the developers and testers. You sit with them, you go through the user stories, the points one by one. You ask them right there, tell me where you're facing issue, what you're not able to understand. It will just help you to reduce the that manual or the back and forth with the clients a lot, with the developers and testers a lot. So you need to have good collaboration skills. At the end of the day, I would say, as a business analyst, you need to have a lot of calm. There could be many pressurizing situations, many people testing your patience. But the more patient you are, more calm you are, more collaborative you are, the more success will be there. So collaboration skills will be an add-on. Now, these are the core skills which you need to have which you already have, I would say, from day one. So you can polish on that, right? I would say from day one as a business analyst, you need to have these. You need to have good questioning skills. You need to have good communication skills, analytical skills. We have already talked about requirement elicitation, which is basically identifying the requirement, what kind of requirement it is. Then you document it. While you're documenting it in a user story. So story writing is a very important skill, I would say. That's why it has been separately mentioned. Story writing. Then you need to understand the agile methodology. We will also be deep diving into this concept altogether. It's a different one. Agile methodology, basically the method using which you will be doing your project, whether it's going to be like one big rollout or you will go do it into phases, like incremental phases, one by one. So that is what agile methodology is about. It's an iterative approach. You need to know about that because in IT world, 90% of the projects are using agile, right? So we will have a proper session on that. Then you need to have good presentation skills because now you know the ServiceNow, but client doesn't know. And they want their solutions using ServiceNow because even they know how good of a tool it is. So in your workshops, you will go into it and you will present them that, okay, this is what incident management is. And you will show them on the live instance as well. So you need to have really good presentation skills. Then flow charting, basically the process flows that you're going to design. If I just like I gave you example of making a tea, so you should be skilled enough to design a workflow on the go, right? Sometimes what happens, you are on call with client, they get very confused with the Excels and Word documents and theoretical stuff. So you sit with them, you understand that, okay, what is the capability of the client to explain the problem or understand it. So you do it in the visual format. It has happened to me in some of my projects that sometimes the client was not very much comfortable with the typical methods, like they were not comfortable with the Excels or filling out the details in the Word documents, whatever templates I was giving them, that, okay, please give me these requirements, I need it in this format. I'm going to need all this. They were not very comfortable. They found it very, hectic. So what I did, I said, okay, now let's sit together in these calls. Opened my Lucid chart. I put a start and end pointer. And as they kept explaining their process step by step, I started putting in the boxes and connecting them using the lines. So you need to be good at flow charting. That's another important skill. Process flows gives visuals to everyone, just like Habib said a while back, that okay, are there any visuals for it? Because why? Visuals work as a very good form of communication to everybody to understand anything, right? So there are certain things which we definitely need to go with the theory part, but if we get the visuals, it will be making more sense, the practical part, right? So that's why flow charting is important. And lastly, definitely the stakeholder management, which is very important, because BA is about people and processes, as I said, it's not about coding. So stakeholder management is very important. I would say these are the core skills that you need to have. Now, business analyst analysis doesn't just stop there. Once you are good with these skills, and I can assure you by the end of this course, you will naturally be so good at all of these skills that you will say that, okay, I'm well equipped now. So once you've done it, what's next? We all need something to build on. So you can stretch your skills or grow into these skills now. What you can do now, you can now learn about the ITL processes. Now, the ITSM in ServiceNow and the ITL framework, which pretty much every organization uses in IT world, that is ITIL. That's a set of guidelines. It's not a tool, it's a set of guidelines which everybody uses. So we will also cover this in one of our sessions in coming time. So you need to know about the ITL processes. It's very much similar to the ServiceNow ITSM, but still you need to know it. Then you need to have good knowledge about the ServiceNow platform. Again, this is the skill you're for sure going to acquire by the end of this course. Then you need to know minimum 1 to 2 ServiceNow out of the box modules. Now we know about the out of the box, which is already there in ServiceNow. They have already designed it. You just need to use it, right? That is what we out of the box means. That means it is given there. So now, the minimum ServiceNow out of the box modules, as we were going through our curriculum in the first session, I have shown you it could be ITSM and HRSD, because these two are in more like the most in demand in the market. You will see a lot of jobs around these two, because no matter which company there is, every company needs two things for sure: the IT and the HR part, because they need to manage their digital processes, they need to manage their people. So these two are highly in demand, and we will have proper sessions into these two modules. So you will cover this as well. CMDB basics, I have already told you what CMDB is all about. All the assets in the company, whether it's your laptop, the servers, the Wi-Fi, the CPU, mouse you're using, right? All of those IT assets. So we will cover CMDB basics as well, because again, whenever you're in this any company, you first need to understand their the IT infrastructure, right? You need to understand where the data is coming from, where it is going. So CMDB, irrespective of whether you're doing it for the IT, HR, legal, finance, it is going to be in picture for everybody. So CMDB is very important. We will cover the basics. Then there is something known as Now Create methodology. This is the treasure for you, I would say. ServiceNow is such a good platform. It not only gives you a lot of opportunities or platform to learn things, it also gives you a proper repository which you can refer to whenever you have to deal with a client or you are in project. I will I will make sure that I do a proper separate session on Now Create. Now Create is something where you can find the process guides, you can find the scoping guides, the presentations, ready-made presentations for any topic, and you can find the questionnaires, and you can find the starter stories package. So they pretty much have built everything for you. Everything is ready. You just need to view it as per your requirement, download it, and customize a little bit, like make some changes here and there as per the client. So Now Create is your, I would say, golden repository, the treasure. You can leverage it at any time. You don't have to build things from the scratch. You can use those documents, right, to do your business analyst part. Then ServiceNow has some reporting, reporting every tool pretty much have. So whatever you're building, you need to have reports for that on the dashboards, right? And dashboard is something, a proper like view where you can see different reports that, okay, these were the number of issues raised by the people in the company in the last 1 month, and these are still open. These are assigned to people, to some teams. These are unassigned. So the reports like this, so you need to know the ServiceNow reporting basics. Then you should be able to do the gap analysis. We have already talked about it, that you understand the current process of the client, and then you do it, align it with the ServiceNow solutions. So when you do this, you are basically understanding that as is process, which is current process, versus to be process, which is the future process. And you understand what is the gap between them, and then you fulfill that gap using the ServiceNow, right? Then I told you, most of the projects in IT world, they work on agile methodology. So you need to know the agile application in ServiceNow, because this is exactly where you will be writing your user stories most of the times, 80% of the time, agile only, right? So that is very important. We will have a hands-on demo about that. Okay. And then you need to be good at customer demos or workshops. So in workshops, you try to understand client in their business, their areas, you gather the requirements. Then once you've built that, you build the solution, then you demonstrate it to client. So you need to be good at both customer demos and workshops. And then you need to understand the ServiceNow foundation data, right? What is the foundation data? Basically everything that a project needs to be fulfilled to be implemented, right? So these are the stretch skills where you can grow into. Once you know, once you covered that, okay, we have this questioning skills, we can do the story writing, we are good at presentation, making flowcharts, we can analyze the situations, we are good at stakeholder management. Then you can focus into more into which is ServiceNow specific things, right? So it's a vast platform, but you can always stretch yourself into these skills. The more you will be doing it, more opportunities you will be getting into the future, and you will feel very confident that, okay, now anything comes my way, I can do that project. So these were about the skill set. And now, just to summarize this all, so as a business analyst, what should be your mindset? A good BA will always think that why this is needed, who is going to use it, what will happen if we don't do this, and how the success will be measured. Now, as a business analyst, you're a thinker, you're a translator, you're a problem solver. So the why, who, what, and how, right? How, as in how the success will be measured, not how it will be created. That is not you. That is for the developers. But this is how your mindset should be. So becoming a BA is like becoming that little child you used to be in your childhood, very curious, always asking questions, how this happened, why this happened, why we doing it, all that kind of things, right? So this is how a good BA always thinks about the situation. Are we good so far? Should we move ahead?
Yes, it looks pretty excited. I'm just waiting for like something like live project because that just makes me so overwhelmed. So I'm just waiting
Yes.
for the coming up time so we can learn and see more actual projects. How can we take from stakeholders, learn it, and give it to our team,
Right.
as an example. Thank you, Cor.
Yes, sure. Okay. So a day in the life of a BA, I know we have already covered one very high level information that, okay, this is what a BA does in the day, but this is some dig deeper. For example, I have broken it down into what you will be doing in morning, afternoon, evening. So it's just like, it's not specific that you have to do all of these activities into a single day, or this is specifically what you have to do in the morning. I'm just letting you know, because when I'm into projects, sometimes my morning starts with reviewing the emails from the clients, or if they have any queries, and then at the same time I'm preparing for the workshops, because while I'm getting the doubts from the clients or the queries which I need to clarify over the email, right, I'm at the same time I have my session in the 10 a.m. call with the client, where I need to tell them about the out of the box process in ServiceNow, which is incident management, right? Then at the same time, I have another call with them around 12 a.m., sorry, 11:30 a.m., where I will be reviewing the user stories or requirements which I have gathered from the last workshop, which happened 2 days back. So then I'm aligning with my project manager as well. At the same time, I'm telling him that, okay, these are the 10 user stories we are going to cover in this particular timeline, right? So there is a lot of planning involved. So planning is key for having the most productive day for a BA. So you understand and plan things, right? And then maybe around my midday, so when I'm conducting the workshop, I might be having my call around, when I'm doing the workshop, it could be in the midday, so I'm meeting the business users, I'm clarifying the requirement. Does anybody has a question? Okay. Then I am working with developers on clarifications, because suppose I had my workshop around 2 p.m. with client, right? I told them, I connected the workshop, I met them, I clarified the requirements. But at after the session ended around 3:30, or maybe at some time, my developers came to me, or maybe they came early morning to me, because that's what they're working on. So they came with the doubts that, Gurpreet, we need to understand this story, this particular requirement. Can you please give us some clarity? So I have to spend more time talking than typing, because again, it's a people skills, it's a process skills. So you're most of the time you're talking with people, whether it's your client, your developers, your QA, your project manager. So the collaboration analysis skills, right? And then you at the same time, while you're having workshop, you might be documenting the requirements, right? Now during the workshop, I noted down the requirement in the very raw format, but now after that is done, now I'm documenting it properly into the user stories. Or if there is any existing user story where client had some more points to give, I will be updating it as well, right? Whatever my developers have built so far, I will be reviewing it with them, right? And then whatever they have built, I might have another call in the evening or afternoon at 4 p.m., where I'm showing the client that, okay, this is what we have built. So they will be validating the solution. They will be saying that this looks good to us. So you see how many different things go hand in hand for a BA. Like they are conducting workshops, they're noting down the requirement, they are writing user stories for the yesterday's workshop, the requirements, they're updating them as well, right? So it might sound a lot, but trust me, once you're into it, you get used to it, and then it all seems so natural and easygoing. So at the same time, when you're doing this, you might also prepare for UAT, which is user acceptance testing. Once you have built the thing, your tester has tested from your company. Now client will be testing it. Then your QA has written some test cases, right? They're covering all the positive and negative test scenarios for the testing part of that functionality which you're building. So you're reviewing the test cases, whether they cover all the, angles. And then at the end of the day, you're sending meeting minutes. You had your workshop, you were focusing on other activities. By 5 to 6 p.m. when I'm closing down, I have my meeting minutes ready. I'm sending it to everybody to keep everybody aligned. I'm also tracking the action items that, okay, I needed 4 different inputs from client. So I tell them these are the 4 action items on your end. There are 3 action items for the developers. They need to make these stories complete by the EOD. There are action items for the QA that he needs to test the stories or move them ahead, right? Then you update the requirement status that, okay, this was the one phase and we have completed it, or this is in progress. And then you prepare for the next day if there is something for you. And then so you are ensuring that nothing is falling through the crack, right? That is what. So that's how your day looks like. You could be doing all of these activities into a single day, or maybe over the span of 1 week. But yes, this all goes hand in hand in a project. Now, as a BA, what will be your career path, right? So now whatever you're doing, you're actually handling a lot of a very huge responsibility, which means that you're covering setting the foundation of a project. So it is making you ready for a lot of things. You're collaborating with the project manager. So you're basically getting to know about the project management as well, product manager as well, right? So you can become a project manager or product manager. You're collaborating with your QA, the quality analyst. You're reviewing his test cases, You're sitting with the client, telling them how to test things out. So you can become a quality analyst as well, right? Or you can become self-employed consultant. For example, there is a peak age, maybe after spending 5 to 6 years, good 6 years in ServiceNow, I feel like I don't want to work 9 to 5. I think I'm good enough now. I can actually consult people or analyze things on my own. I can help anybody. So I start working as a freelancer, maybe. I can say that I want to have that freedom that, okay, whenever somebody has a requirement for a project, it could be a 4 month project or a 1 year project. So I become self-employed, right? I do the freelancing part. So you can do that as well. And then there are many different managerial positions which you can succeed ahead to in as a BA, right? They can keep promoting you. So the hierarchy of the promotion varies from organization to organization. But whatever is there, you can become that. And then there could be CIO, CFO, etc. Because you see, as a BA, you're doing a lot of stuff, right? It is actually about upskilling yourself and making yourself capable. Maybe at some point you might feel like I can be a CEO as well. Why? Because you're actually demonstrating the client this is how ServiceNow is. You're indirectly selling the product, right? You are also noting down all the things, then you're giving it to the developers. Maybe you hire 4 developers and then you sell the product to the client. You give them the workshops. You have developers, you have quality analysts. You can start your own company, so you can be a CEO, president, journal director. You can own a business of your own, right? And there is sophisticated and exciting project for a reputable company, so you work there as a business analyst. So these are all the career paths, because it is like a jack of all trades being a BA, right? You get to know about PM part, you get to know about the BA which you're already doing, and then the developer, the tester. So you're collaborating with them all, so you can actually go into all these career paths. This is how versatile it is. So while you're doing so many of things, it's actually building more opportunities for you. Now, if you have to understand the business analyst role, specifically in the ServiceNow projects, so why BA is critical over there? Because ServiceNow is highly configurable. Now, when I say highly configurable, that means that whatever is there out of the box, you can always alter it to your needs, right? For example, client says, okay, out of the box, you have given us 4 different states in incident management process. There is new, there is work in progress, there is closed, there is resolved. Now the client says, instead of new, I want to rename it to draft. Instead of work in progress, I want to say it's in progress. Or instead of I want to add cancel state as well. So it is highly configurable. You can whatever is there out of the box, you can add more options to it, you can rename it, right? And it is process driven. For example, if you have incident management process, there is a certain process behind it, right? It's not like, okay, you have to do something basis on the particular activity or something. You can say there is a proper process. You go to the portal, you see an incident form, you tell them about their issue, you submit it, you will get a request number. Now that request will be in work in progress, right? So it's like a proper process driven process, and it is enterprise wide. Why enterprise wide? Because if it is like covering the IT part, the HRST part, the legal finance, this is how widely spread a service now is. They pretty much provide you solution for every domain in your company, right? And if the BA is not into the picture, this tool will become a ticketing system only, because who is letting the client know that this is how ServiceNow works? This is who will understand their business problem. It won't be a very helpful tool, right? Because even if all the solutions are there, but there is nobody to set the tone right, to tell the client or demonstrate them about these features, to understand their business, to understand their pain points, to document it down into user stories. So now it will become only a ticketing system where people come, they log their problem that I'm facing this issue, and the request is getting generated. So what about the other part? That's why a BA has to be into the picture. They're very important. Otherwise, the processes will remain broken, right? And the customization will increase unnecessarily. So, as a business analyst, this is a best practice to follow. You always advise client to stick to the out of the box, like whatever is already there, right? You can rename it, you can add more options, you can remove some options. But if they ask for customization, which is like altogether a different thing. For example, let me give you example. There is a proper, we can say website which we have developed for the client, or we can say it's a portal, right? And client says, Gurpreet, we need to have HR portal which will be announcing everything about the HR department. Services will also be available. I can click on any form, search for it, leave policy, timesheet, and I can submit it. But now they want a new sticker over there. Now, why I'm giving you this example, because I know from my experience that new sticker, it's like the continuous moving line, just like in news channels we get the moving headlines. That is something which doesn't come out of the box with ServiceNow. That is a custom feature. Now client insists that, Gurpreet, I want this customization. I know if they will get it, what is going to happen whenever there will be a new upgrade in the ServiceNow, or maybe they will be moving to some another tool or environment, there is going to be a lot of technical debt to it, because customization comes with a cost. It costs you something. There are consequences to it. So customization will increase unnecessarily if me as a business analyst, I'm not into the picture, I'm not advising the client the best practice to follow. So that is why this is how critical your role is in the ServiceNow projects. And again, your responsibilities, irrespective of the fact, earlier we were going through the generic scenarios, but in the ServiceNow project, again, it stays the same. You understand the current as is process, you design the process, future one, right, which is to be process. You map the business needs to ServiceNow modules. Okay, I know the client has this scenario where they keep getting the incidents via emails or something, and I know I need to map it out with the incident management process in ServiceNow. So I map the business needs to ServiceNow modules with the out of the box capabilities, right? Then I write user stories and acceptance criteria. After that, I support in the testing and the deployment of the particular feature we have built for the client in their environment. So the pretty much responsibilities pretty much stays the same. If I have to give you one example, it could be incident management. So as I was saying, users are complaining about, okay, slow issue resolution. Consider this one business problem. Now, as a BA, my activity would be I will schedule a call with IT people, and if I'm in person in the office with them in the client's location, I will interview the IT people or the users who are using it. I will identify where the problem lies, the bottlenecks. Then I will redesign their incident flow. So currently it's manual. I will automate it using ServiceNow. Then I will define requirements like, okay, if people are coming up with their issues, they need to define their priority and how the priority is getting calculated based on which factors, right? What are the SLA triggers? SLA triggers are basically uh, that, okay, if I have assigned one task to Habib, for example, I have given him 2 days. If he is not able to do it in 2 days, the SLA will be breached, just like a contract is breached. So it's my contract with Habib or, Michelle, that, okay, there are like 2 days for you to complete this task or this assignment. If you don't do it, your SLA will be breaching. So what will be the triggering point for the SLA to begin for them? That the moment I give them the task, that is the SLA trigger, right? And then escalation rules. So if you don't complete your task within the given time, there could be certain escalation, in ServiceNow. I'm not saying in this training there is no escalation, definitely, but yeah, just like we need to have some rules, defined for the processes to be on the time. So if somebody is not completing their resolving the incident in the IT team within the given time, their SLA is getting breached. So there will be escalation rules behind it, right? And then, so as a business analyst, I would say you're connecting the business users and the developers who are technical people, right? One is completely non-technical, another is technical. You're acting as a bridge between them because you're both good at functional part and the technical part by learning ServiceNow. And then you're also bridging the gap between the process owners and platform capabilities. Now, there could be somebody from the client side who knows everything about how the incidents are being handled in the company or how the HR process is being handled in the company, For example, they're onboarding new people, and you know the capabilities of ServiceNow as well. That okay, how incident management works here, how the onboarding process under HR works here. So you act as a bridge between them. You tell them this is what all we have, and this is how your process can fit into ServiceNow capability. And then you're converting the requirements to the configuration. So you have the requirements, you give it to the technical people, they configure it. So as a BA, you're ensuring that ServiceNow is working like a solution, like an actual solution, and not just a tool, which is just a software, right? So BA does not configure. It ensures that right configuration is built, right? You're not actually building the things, but you're making sure the things that are being built are correct, they are accurate. Last thing for the day, since these are like very initial sessions, I don't want to overwhelm you with a lot of information. Otherwise, typically, as we will be moving ahead, our session can go anywhere from 1.5 to 2 hours, depending on the time, right? I will try to keep it very optimal for everybody, realistic, right? But the starting session specifically, I try to keep it shorter so that we all can process or absorb the information as someone who is new to ServiceNow. So this will be the last slide for the day. There are some tips and tricks for success. If you suppose once you complete this training, you sit for interviews, you get your job as a ServiceNow BA. Now you need to thrive in your first project, right? So what are the tips and tricks for success over there? You need to know the scope. So it's like just like you're reading assignment instructions carefully. I give you some assignment. There are some instructions to it. You will always review the statement of work. So statement of work in ServiceNow projects or in any IT projects works as a instruction manual, that okay, this is what we are going to cover, this is what we need, all that it comes from client side. And then you ask the questions early, right? You ask the right questions, you ask the questions at the right time. So you need to know the scope. Then you will prepare some templates, right? So you need to have ready to use requirement templates, because you don't want to waste your time. Suppose in your first project, client is coming to you, they say, hey, Michelle, we need incident management. So you need to have your requirement templates ready. I will show you, I will give you some examples how the requirement templates look like. Then you need to should be ready with the process flows. This is how the current process looks like. If they don't have a flow, design it, show them in a visual that okay, this is your current process, now this is how we're going to change it. And then you need to have your questionnaires ready. It's like preparing notes before the exams. So workshop is like having an exam, and before that you prepare your templates, your notes. Then in the workshops you ask and document, so you never assume anything on your own, that okay, I think this is right, so I can say this will go in this way. No, you always check with client, you ask the clarifying questions, you document everything. It's similar to keeping detailed project notes in a college, right? So then lastly, you engage with stakeholders. So you need to put yourself into the customer's shoes, or you need to wear the customer's hat, right? Listen to their pain points. Imagine yourself in this situation, just like you do in our personal lives. We say, put yourself into my situation, have some empathy, just like that. You need to wear the customer's hat. You listen to their pain points. You adapt to their communication style. Now, some clients, they need spoon feeding. They need to be spoon fed like a baby. They need to know everything from A to Z. Some are already well equipped with few of the things, so they don't need that much of help. But you need to understand the communication style of the client, and you need to adapt to it. And that will happen naturally. So in this way, you will be building trust, right? Just like you work with your professors or the project guides you have in your college. So I would say these are some tips and tricks for success. I will make sure the next session we start, whatever we have studied till now, I show you a case study where we will be given a real time project situation. We will identify the bottlenecks. We will see how you can go to the solution, right? The solutions you still not will be able to 100% define, because you don't know about service now as of now. So but yeah, it's good to have an overview. So we will do that. I will tell you that okay, now this is the requirement, this is how the process flow looks like, this is how you can write a user story. So we will have a high level overview, so that you can see the practical implementation of all the things that we have done today. So I thank you, everybody. The platform is open for the Q&A. Please let me know and we can discuss it. And I hope the session was insightful for everybody.
Hello.
Yes, Rania.
Yes, I have a question. So, as in the beginning, when I mentioned that I did take learn business analytics before a few years ago, but nothing came of it. What I did learn, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I learned, the gist of it was, like I always give people this example. Like I always tell them, because I've learned this when I took it, that like let's say I'm the business analyst and someone comes to me, they're the stakeholder, they're the clients, and they say they want a house built in this location. They give me the requirements. They say I want this many bedrooms, this many baths, in this location, so on and so forth. And what I go is after I go back to my team and figure out how long the project is going to take. If the client comes to me, let's say the project is going to take like I don't know 10 months, and like the client comes to me and says, okay, well, on the 8th month or the 9th month, they want something changed. I learned about time, money, and resource. So if they come to me towards the end of the project, it's going to affect all that. Am I correct about that?
That's correct. And so, Rania, the exact situation which you just talked about, that's a
Mm-hmm.
waterfall model in ServiceNow, right? Not in ServiceNow, in IT world, basically, where you first build everything and the client comes into the picture in the very end. Now, that
Mm-hmm.
could be disastrous because they might not like what you have built in the house, right? Maybe they
Yeah.
wanted their washroom at a certain place. Maybe they wanted their room to be a little bigger, the tiles to be of certain color, right? Now, it's a
Yeah.
lot of rework. It will involve a lot of cost and energy and time wastage basically. So
Yeah.
that's why in over here in IT world now, 90% of the companies are using the agile model or agile methodology, which basically means now they divide the work into smaller chunks. For example, you start building a house, you first go with basic building the basic framework of the home. Then you invite your client, like the customer, you tell them, now look at this. This is the design we have told you we're going to build. This is how it comes into the real time. Let us know if you want any changes because now is the time. We can still break or make things, but once all the furnishings are done, then it will be
Yeah.
impossible. It will involve a lot of cost. So that is the when you do that kind of approach, the iterative approach, where you take clients' feedback time to time regularly, right? Every time you do something new, that's agile model, and we're going to read about it. So that's a very good question, Rania. Thank you so much, and I hope I clarified your doubt.
You did. Thank you so much. I just had one more to add to it, if that's okay. So
Yeah.
in that scenario, let's say the project as a whole is going to take 10 months. Does that mean every month that I can have the clients see if they want something changed, or only for that first time that they want something changed or not?
I would say not every month. In fact, twice a month, because when we do things in using Agile, so we have
Okay.
this 2 weeks of timeline. We call it a sprint, right? So in those
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks, we for the first week we do the development. In the second week, half of the time we do the testing, and in the next 2 days we show the client what we have built. So right there, they can let us know that Gurpreet, I feel like this is really good. This is working for me, but this particular area I need you to rework on, or I have some different inputs now, right? So
Okay.
if they're giving me such kind of feedback in my next sprint where I'm going to do the development again, I can make the changes right there because now everything is still in progress. So yeah,
Yeah.
I would say yeah, that's the best method to have, like have your
Okay.
client on board, right?
Thank you so
The best
much.
Yeah, thank you, Rania. The best
Thank you.
example could be that we are having this training, and when I complete my 2 to 3 slides or when I'm demonstrating you something practically, I keep on taking your feedback that are we good with this? I hope you all are understanding. So that's like using the agile model that I'm taking your input time to time, because there will be no point I come into this session, I keep speaking alone for 2 hours and nobody
Mm-hmm.
gets out of it, right? That will be very inefficient. So nobody would like to invest the time into this. So that's why the iterative approach where you take the customer's feedback time to time is very important.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the clarification.
Sure. Thank you.
Gurpreet, I have a question if I can proceed.
Sure.
Yeah, so you were talking about the core skills, right? Like the presentation, flow chart, stakeholder management, and analytical skills, comm skills, etc. So
Yeah,
are we gonna go in detail with the ITIL processes, CMBD
yes,
basics, gap
right.
analysis, and everything? Like for the
Every-
questionnaires, customizations, process guide wires, and like
Everything.
okay,
Yeah.
okay,
This
sure.
is what this course is all about. We will be covering the ITL basics, the CMDB basics, how to do the gap analysis, how to do requirement gathering, right? All of it. So Soumya, we will definitely be covering each of the area over here.
Yeah. So apart from the training what we are receiving here, so would you like us to focus more on the user stories, like on our end for Agile, Azure, and UI?
Yes, I would say let's first understand the agile model, right? And let's try to understand the format of a user story. But yes, user story writing is a core skill of a BA. So the more you can keep practicing it, the better it will be for you in the future. Yeah, sideways you can keep doing it as we move ahead with our lectures.
Okay. Okay, sure.
Thank
And
you.
the next lecture is on Friday, right?
Friday, yes, your Friday evening. That's correct.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Gurpreet.
Yes. Vinay, I see your hand raised.
Yeah, thanks, Gurpreet. Quick
Yes.
question. You were talking about the ServiceNow Agile application.
Yes.
From out of the box ServiceNow functionality, does it come with its own by default epics and features against which we are going to write the user stories?
That's correct. So ServiceNow has its own agile.
Okay,
I will show you in the live instance of ServiceNow that how it
okay,
looks like, right? And it gives you a proper already built structure or the format where you can create
okay,
epics, the stories, the task, right? So everything is
okay,
like pretty much
perfect.
built in there. You just have to use it to the best optimal way you want to use it. Yeah.
That's great. Okay,
Yes.
thanks, Gurpreet.
Thank you. Yeah. Do we have any questions from anybody else? I see Amandeep. I see Emmanuel, Bhavin. Any questions from you guys? Are we good so far?
Yeah,
Jenny,
great.
Jawad. Okay, great.
All right. Gurpreet, you have a question? Sorry, Amandeep, you have a question?
No, not right
Good.
now.
All right. I know
Okay.
there's a lot of folks who have spoken to me, and there are still a lot of new faces here. Guys, I have left my phone number in the chat. My name is Sudesh Anand, 647-221-0315. That's my number. I'm a career coach, and it's very important for you guys to chat with me to understand is this feasible for you, how to transition the career, all of your questions to be answered. Just leave me a text message tomorrow, and I can call you guys back and we can get on those conversation. Gurpreet, amazing session. Thank you so much for going into deep. So we will continue to get more clarity, guys. It has to be interactive. So wherever you have a question, raise your hand emoji so that Gurpreet can stop right there and we can answer your questions. Okay. So Gurpreet is a person with a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience, international experience. So she has so much to offer, but it's always good to ask more questions to the trainer so that you can unlock the trainer and give them more information to you, right? So that's how you want to go. So with that, I want to let you know the next complimentary session, the final one, is on Friday evening at 8:30 p.m. Please come. We really want to give you this opportunity to make sure that if this is feasible for you, right, to get to know us more. So if you've never been in IT, it is a great place to start. If you been in IT already, that's great. ServiceNow is a good place to start because the career is really strong. With that, I will conclude this session. You all have a great night, and we'll see you guys back on Friday, and we'll send the recordings to your emails. All good, guys? Can we call it a night?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sudhi. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Gurpreet.
everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Have
Ms.
a
Kaur.
great
Thank
night,
you,
guys.
Sudesh.
Thank you,
See you guys
everyone.
back on
Have a
Friday.
great day. Yeah. Bye bye.